Good morning, everyone. This session will be about mentoring and the difference between business mentoring and volunteer mentoring, which are two new practices with new perspectives for companies today. My name is Manel. I have a PhD and I'm a researcher and consultant on mentoring, but also organizational transformations, new organizational transformations in companies. And we will be presenting today with Pascal. So Pascal, I will let you maybe introduce yourself to begin with.
Yes, okay. So on my side, I'm a business mentor for many years, more than 10 years now in the field, and I'm CEO of an international organization dedicated to mentoring to SME owners.
Great, thank you, Pascal. So today our scope will be actually the French context and how in France mentoring is evolving with different practices and new practices are emerging. In the agenda, well, first of all, we are going maybe to present and introduce you the committee, the EMCC committee, sorry, of mentoring in France, of course. We'll be introducing the mentoring, what is the definition, the official definition today. And then I will be introducing a little bit a first study that was conducted in the French context, the French scope, about mentoring and the different practices. That will be the first part. In the second part, I will leave that to Pascal, and we'll be talking more about business mentoring, and of course, we'll be having a workshop about that. So if you do have any questions or whatever, do not hesitate. We are having also Catherine, if you want to introduce yourself. I don't see the screen here. I'm sharing. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah. Just some word. I am an expert in mentoring. My business is to assist, to accompany companies and networks to put in place mentoring program with the quality and results. That's all.
Thank you so much, Catherine. So as you can see, Catherine and Pascal here are two experts of mentoring with different forms of mentoring, of course. We'll be seeing that later on. So if you do have any questions, Catherine will be helping us and will be answering your questions later on. To begin with, maybe it can be convenient to start with a definition of mentoring. Today, there is no official definition, national one anyway, but we can say that it is a confidential relationship of support between two people where the mentor is more experienced than the mentee. And the aim of this relationship is actually to promote the circulation of knowledge, to develop the career, to transfer experience, values, and of course, to develop personal and professional growth. So as you can see here, there are several forms of mentoring and several objectives or aims of this first relationship. In order to understand or to learn more about mentoring, let me introduce you the mentoring committee in the French EMCC today with our leader, Lydia. So this committee is composed today of 11 members. This is recent because it has been like 1 year that we are all co-working together about mentoring, and we are having several projects about the new mentoring. And this was really the result of a study conducted, first of all, in 2015, which was just to introduce the mentoring statute in France. And then it was completed last year in 2020. And this was a qualitative study about EMCC, and especially about the status of mentoring in France, that I had the pleasure to conduct with the other members of the committee, of course, where I had to lead some interviews with several companies and several structures. We had like 36 structures, 7 large companies, 3 startups, 7 associations, and 19 consulting groups and independent firms. This is really important to mention because it means that mentoring is developing and is evolving in several forms of structures. So we had the interview, we had also a questioning grid. It's like a framework that we wanted to follow in order to have coherent results. So let's talk about the results. This is really a brief introduction where I found out that we had several practices of mentoring with several profiles of mentees. We had scholars, students, alumni as mentees, but also employees in large companies, startups, and other structures. We had also people at risk of exclusion, and we had a lot of entrepreneurs who are following and enjoying mentoring relationships today in companies, in associations, in business schools sometimes, etc. Some common elements of these several programs is, of course, the objectives targets. It's really important to mention that in order to succeed a mentoring relationship, it's really important to define and determine an objective, a target, an aim of this relationship, whether it is professional growth, personal growth, career growth, or whatever. It's really important to have like a target with, of course, a deadline, with a duration to promote this duration and to evaluate every time with different steps. Also, it is important that the mentor be a volunteer mentor who does not have the obligation actually to mentor the entrepreneur or the scholar or the employee in the company. It's also important to have trainings for both mentors and mentees. Nowadays, we can mention several forms of trainings in companies, within companies, but also out, such as some consulting firms, for instance, are developing a program, a training program for mentors, how to become a good mentor, which kind of competencies, which kind of skills we're supposed to evolve, we're supposed to develop in order to share knowledge and in order to be, of course, in the positive learning approach. Also, it's really important to have a monitoring to how to follow your mentoring relationship, and in the end, how are you supposed to evaluate that with maybe KPIs, with qualitative or quantitative ones. So these are common elements that we have identified in different programs, which was really important. And what I need to mention, though, is that we found different forms and practices of mentoring. The most important forms today are these 3: mentoring, P2P mentoring, which is really 2 people trying to have this relationship, a mentor and a mentee, which is the most classic relationship. We can also find cross-mentoring and group mentoring, where the relationship is more collective. It's not one-to-one or face-to-face mentoring, but it's more about one mentor with different mentees, or even sometimes several mentors with several mentees. The practice can vary from a program to another, from a structure to another, from the objective to another. So we can find classic mentoring again. We can find reverse mentoring, which is really something evolving in the companies today, especially in the large groups, especially with the COVID-19 situation. We talk a lot about reverse mentoring, digital mentoring, how young are trying to mentor really sometimes some leaders about several topics. And also we can find business mentoring, which we can also call mentoring for professional growth. Pascal will be talking more, and you will learn more about business mentoring in this case. So, of course, we'll be sharing these slides with you afterwards, but it's also important maybe to mention some common elements that we can find in these practices, in these several forms. There is always, for instance, a mentoring committee where we can sometimes identify mentors, where we can evaluate the mentoring progress, the mentoring relationship progress, where we can also decide how are we going to call for applications and how are we going to select and identify our mentees. It's also important again to evaluate, to have these outcome measures. Sometimes you can talk about KPIs, sometimes you can talk just about interviewing mentors and interviewing mentees in order to know how the relationship has been evolving. So these are more about the study conducted in 2020 and how this study actually allowed us to learn more about mentoring today in the French context, of course, in the French scope. This can be different from a city to another. It can be different from a country to another, and from a culture to another, of course. So talking about the French scope again, there is really an enormous difference today, because in 2015, when we started asking ourselves questions about mentoring, we didn't find much, actually. We didn't find a lot of information about mentors. We didn't know what mentoring actually is. And sometimes the definition was not that obvious. So it's really surprising, which is good. It's really surprising today how the government, the French government, are trying to focus more about mentoring and to highlight the benefits of mentoring relationships in different scopes. So mentoring is today trying to engage society, especially with the COVID-19 situation. We are having youth mentoring. We talk more and more about mentoring for young people, of course, and it's the government, it's the president in France, of course, who is talking about this new initiative and who is enhancing people to mentor each other, to be more helpful with each other. So we can talk about this first initiative, which is the first platform ever, One Youth, One Solution platform about mentoring. And this is like a place where young people can go, can subscribe, and can, for instance, define an objective and aim and find a mentor, which is a 100% volunteer relationship, of course, but the young will be accompanied. He or she will be having a mentor for several months sometimes. And the objective, of course, is really to help young people, especially with the COVID-19 situation, to help them feel better about themselves, to help them have a career, find a new job, and sometimes to help them just through their courses in their own schools. So this is again a new initiative, and it is really exclusive because it's the government, the French government, who is talking about mentoring. And today we can find a lot of associations. We were like 8 associations a few months ago, and we are more than 34 associations today. So as you can notice, this is really getting bigger and bigger every day. We are talking more and more about mentoring for young people, but also mentoring in companies, mentoring for entrepreneurs, mentoring in business schools, etc. As you can notice, we are evolving from a situation in 2015 where no one knew what mentoring is, to a new situation where we had this first national study conducted in 2020 about mentoring. And now we are talking about mentoring, the government is talking about mentoring for children. So this is the the evolution of mentoring in the French context. And for now, let us introduce you maybe another form, exclusive form of mentoring, which is the business mentoring or business mentor. Pascal, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Manel. So what is very interesting is we can imagine from your side that you can see that on the French side, a lot of actions was done in the last years, we can say, concerning different aspects on the mentoring. And it's also the same on the service area, as we were some of professionals like us discovered some new needs and some new requests from the field. Just after the former financial crisis, the 2008, we were on some of professionals who tried to help small business to overcome the key critical period they had to live at that time. And it was very interesting that the request from the entrepreneur, from the business owner, was not to have new advisors around them, because they had their accountants, there are many consultants on every area, but they need some personal support to overcome that critical steps. And it was very interesting at that period, the question we had with some professionals in common, sorry, that's how to be a good professional to face that situation. So not to give advices, but to be helping really in a very close way, and how to be easy to provide good support for. And it appeared that what they looked for, it is experience. And it was very interesting that it was not consulting on one side, and it was not really coaching they wanted at that period. And after questioning the topic, it appeared that it is really mentoring they needed, because they want some peer people, some more experienced people who faced same situations in the past that could be available for helping them. But not only people who had experience, but also people who know how to organize a combination, how to feel, how to behave as a support person, as a mentor, but not only as a former entrepreneur. So that situation was very critical. And facing that, we were some of professionals who questioned how to do it on a good way. Manel, you can switch to the next one, please. At that period, we were some of people in Europe, because in our organization, which is named Adinvest International, we work at the EU level with different incubators, accelerators from many countries, from Finland, Austria, Portugal, UK, and during meetings we faced some questions on that. Okay, to be a good mentor, what does that mean from one place to another, to be a good mentor for an entrepreneur? And beside these questions, it appeared that in each European countries at that period, from the people we were, everybody questioned what kind of competence, what kind of know-how, what kind of training to be able to, what should be done to be a qualitative business mentor regarding the issue for the business owner. And thanks to the European Commission and some of the partners we had in our network, we succeed to set up European program and really to be able to develop some basic material with a committee of experts, and where some of people of the EMCC France members are joined. And it's very key question at the moment: how could we be a good business mentor facing the needs? For now, what we can question also all together today, it's a very critical point we faced on our market, also in France. And the idea we have for today is a question to be discussed all together for the coach, as we are. How could we be legitimate as a coach to be a business mentor? That is a very good question. And for now, what is very interesting altogether, it is taking 10 minutes to question that topic. How a professional coach can have his legitimacy to be a business mentor for an entrepreneur. And we try to question that all together for now for 10 minutes, if you please. Is there some of you who has some questions? Basically, it is some question we had from the past for questioning our European project. I don't want to give any formal answers because it is, I have some, but what do you feel with that topic? Legitimacy. Is there someone who wants to take the floor on the topic? Maybe Lydia, idea?
So please. Well, to start with, I think it would be good to say that definitions in general keep evolving, in over time, over geography. Last year, EMCC Global Conference, a definition for mentoring was submitted, and then it was kind of officially published. I think pretty much the same output in the chat, which is kind of different from what you guys in the beginning of the slide from Manel. And I have to say that I have started a discussion with Nathalie Monclar in your group, because it seems that in France, the definition is different, and it's a topic that has been discussed over and over in the various EMCC conferences over mentoring since the first edition 3 years ago in Barcelona. So the fact that you feel legitimate or not may have something to do with the definition you put together. I think it's interesting to know that the EMCC Global, the accreditation, the individual accreditation is for both mentoring and coaching. And Beatriz Valderrama, who's now the vice president in Spain, she keeps speaking about the fluid frontiers between the two. So I think there is, that would be my thing. Feeling legitimate or not, it probably has to do with that. Now, my personal note, I'm a mentor, and mostly what I've done was pro bono, well, exclusively pro bono. I have been working for association, women associations, so and this is one of my difficulty to ask to be paid for it. As a coach, maybe I could face things differently. So talking about legitimacy, how about that one? So that's how I break the ice for the discussion. And I'm sure Sylviane, who has much more experience than me, has a lot, and she wrote a bunch of things on the topic. She has a lot to share.
Okay, thank you, Lydia.
Thank you, Olivia. In fact, okay, there is some background noise. Il y a du background chez toi. Okay. In fact, why did I join later? And I'm sorry about that, because there was two debates in English, and one of the other debate was about academic mentoring, and so I'm so pleased to see that you speak of something else than academic mentoring. So thank you. Bonjour à tous. On pourrait parler français ici, mais so let's follow the rule of speaking English. It's a pleasure. In fact, thank you, Olivia. That's true. Let me tell you something. I have a company called Mentoring Co. And you can Mentoring Co. in one word.com. We operate in China, and we do exactly the same thing as you guys in China. In fact, the Chinese government has asked us to guide them to create a mentoring lab, to introduce mentoring in all types of professions. And we speak about big numbers here. And the Chinese government has established exactly the same type of objective as the French one, with other numbers, of course, because we speak about a larger population. And we are now starting introducing mentoring corporate mentoring program inside corporations, and training them a lot. So to answer your question about certification, and we have created certificate. We have our first ACM, which is the EQA program training for mentors, and it's in English, Chinese, and we introduce it in English, and on va l'introduire en français. We'll do it in French in 22 as well. And I think the best way is we are obedient to EMCC, of course. That's why Olivia knows me pretty well. That is, we have the EQA program that creates some sort of certification. You can have your own organization. And for instance, I'm training now, I think, more than 200 mentors at the Université Hassan II de Casablanca. And we have created that EQA program, which is a bespoke program for them. And we push that in universities, and those PhD help MAs and BAs, so masters and BAs, to improve and succeed better. We have the bridge between the professionals, as you do, and I see that you for a job, they do exactly the same, that is push young people into first job, this beautiful mentoring program. I think to answer the question, I don't want to take too much space, is that it's really to have a label. And if you can obtain from the French government some sort of a label like the Chinese government is building it, and hey, we are in a blue ocean situation. This is why it's beautiful, all what we do all together, and start spreading that, and do it in France, I do it in China and elsewhere, beautiful. So you do a good job, really. Thank you.
Okay, that's very interesting. This point. I want to introduce the other vision of the topic, not as professional as we are, but in the mindset of the entrepreneur, of the SME owner. how this person could be ready for giving his trust or her trust to us. Is it only with the certificates? And even if we have all the certificates we need or we can have, is it enough to be legitimated in any case? I can give you some example based on our own experience. When we are supporting SME owners, they come to us always in critical situations, because sometimes they have to prepare a transmission. Sometimes they are in the key period for a merging or an acquisition or something like that. One of the points is that they may feel that in their mentor, the mentor should have the past, should have the experience or the culture at least, to ensure the mentee, to ensure the business entrepreneur that this experience passed from the mentor could be the base of this support. Do you think that that kind of feeling, that kind of perception that the mentee has can have some bad or positive impact in the relation?
Well, very, very interesting, Pascal. I don't know if I understand well, but the question is, for me anyway, it's more about sharing a common base with the SME director or with the entrepreneur. So I would ask myself, if I am an entrepreneur, is it important to have that common base? Is it important to know that my mentor has experienced the exact same thing? And does that give him or her the legitimacy to mentor me and to tell me what to do and when to do it? I don't know. I'm just asking myself that question. So for me, it's more about the knowledge than the culture or the competency or the skills. I think that the knowledge is really important, knowing the environment of entrepreneurs, knowing the culture, because of course the relationship will not be the same if it is in France or if it is in Germany or whatever. For me, anyhow, that will be the question that I would ask.
Do some of you have some remarks regarding the point?
Yes, if I may. In fact, do you have to get the same experience? I just put in the chat. Does it have to be a monkey to mentor a monkey, or could it be a pig? I have the two answers, in fact. If it is the same experience, you'll be in the same pot. Of course, you transfer the same competence, the same culture. You go dans la ligne du parti, you know, in the line. Now, if it is pig coming to you, it would be a broader view, perhaps another view of the 21st century, something weird. Okay, why not? So me, I'm in between, in fact, because either we break the lines and we have the pig coming to the monkey world. It could be quite interesting. But the point is that, does the pig have that ability to grasp your environment? And that's the key point. You know, I have 1 millennium at home. He's 24 years now. And every time I come, you know, I've been teaching at the university. Mom, you think it was your time, it doesn't apply my time. And I love that answer because it challenges me. Do I have the truth? No. I have a truth. And that's why I'm really encouraging all mentors, saying, hey, okay, you are more experienced, you are perhaps older, but please understand that it's the new VUCA world is so much different, you know. So, and we are now in front of millions who want meaning in their work. So I really challenge mentors to have not a parental position, you know, me parent, you child, and have more adult to adult. Yes, parity. That's why, in fact, at Mentoring Co, I created a class calling Mentoring with a Coach Attitude. That is promoting self-awareness, promoting non-judgment, of course, but self-autonomy also in the, on the side of the mentee. And I think now, to stay with it, in SMEs, the point is that people have no time. They don't spend time, energy, and money to train themselves. They go fast, fast, fast because it's moving too fast. And so we have to educate. I say, invest in yourself. You know, every time I meet my mentor, I'm in the business for, Olivia knows me for, I'm more than 60 years old, and I want my mentor. I supervisor as a coach, mentor as a mentor. I cannot live because you know what? I see my energy going down. At a certain moment, j'ai besoin de ma dose. I need my dose. You know? And like I have my kine, my therapist, I need my mentor because it will help me renew my energy. And if I want to have that beautiful energy, it's like a bank account. If you go inside your bank account, you go down, 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 down. No money any longer. You have to put back money. It's the same with mentoring. So I think we have to educate. And the best way is create cases. Just create cases, make demos, create a library of cases, and then it works. But especially since you are in the SME, the question now, create cases for SMEs. What is the return on my investment into my personal mentoring? What did it bring at me? Okay, so what is my return on my time, my energy, and perhaps my money? Okay, if I go to an external mentor. I hope I'm trying to answer your question, but I think it's so open, so it could be great. But legitimacy, so many people call themselves mentor without any idea of what is mentoring. So many people call themselves, you are consultant, so automatically you are mentor and coach. No, this is not true. So we really have to label also, but not to be too coercitive. You know, it still needs to be encouraging. C'est pas créer l'ordre des médecins. We don't need the order with discipline, you know, a strong punishment, that type of thing. We need to make it's volunteer, yet bringing a frame into the volunteering. So when you speak about KPIs for mentoring program, but we have to get KBIs, that is key behavior indicator. What is my change in my behavior when I'm a young entrepreneur or when I'm a student? What do I have to change in my leadership, my communication, and etc. Okay, I stop here. I could talk about it for hours, as you can imagine. So it's a passion. Thank you.
If I may, I'd like to jump on that first. It's not that people or youngers have no time. We don't take the time. Attention.
Absolutely.
Now, then we are at EMCC where diversity and inclusion is so important. And I think mentoring is not an exclusive relationship. I mean, there is nothing that prevents you to have more than one mentor. And I am a great believer. I mean, as I said, I mean, mainly the most mentoring I do is with young women or women in general, not necessarily from my area of professional specialty, because in mentoring, like in coaching, we have the powerful questions. I mean, the importance is to share a different perspective, and you don't need to be from the same area to do that. It's a mindset. Much more than a professional specialty. To me, that's much more important. That said, as Sylviane said, you have the complementarity between the pig and the monkey. I mean, and why do we need only one? This is I think, the complementarity. Both Sylviane and me were Belgian. L'union fait la force. So that's, I think, no exclusivity. Exclusivity has nothing to do in a diverse and inclusive environment.
I want to really come back on what you mentioned. There is a very interesting point also from my own experience. The topic of behavior is key, very key, and that is one point we used in questioning the topic within the consortium in the European project we did in the past. It was really that questions of how could we be sure that someone who has a big experience will have the good behavior as a mentor, because there is many problems, we can say that for people who are acting as mentors without a past and competency as a coach, of course, because when you are a coach, you have the basis on behavior and soft skills, but not always if you are a good entrepreneur with a strong experience. And the behavior is very key, and of course mutual sharing experience and sharing past, it's very good, because nobody has the truth, as you mentioned, and we should, all of us as professionals on this area, keep and maintain very clear and open and critical on this issue, that a mentor should not be a guru. And we have such things sometimes. I remember participating in a program from Sciences Po executive in Paris for African managers, and there were people who was positions as mentor, but completely behave as guru. It was unbelievable and unacceptable. And I think beside the term of legitimacy, that was one of the points we wanted to raise, that this legitimacy, it's not only based on the experience. The experience helped to build the trust, but that's all. That's all, because the experience is the base of that your ability to transfer that experience as a learning item, but not more. That's not the base of the relation. So the behavior on the base of the relation. That's why this question is very key. And when we consider, as I think all of us raised up that aim of learning, because no time available or no time taken for the training, for the learning. So the mentor has this not this ambition, but that request from the mentee to give knowledge, to transfer knowledge, to transfer experience. But the way of doing it, the way of managing the relation is so key that we should be very engaged, involved in the impact of the actions the mentor do for the mentee, because also after that, the decisions and the actions that the entrepreneur or the man or the woman will do can be also linked with the relation with his own mentor or mentors. That's why it's important not to have one, but several, to cross the different experience and to build his own ideas about going forward. Okay, time is running. So it's around 10 minutes before the end. Thank you for these very open discussions. That's great. And I think we can give the floor back to Manel for the final points concerning the work of the Commission in France. Thank you.
Thank you, Pascal.
Merci. See you soon.
So as you can see, thank you, Olivia. So as you can see, the project is really interesting. The project here is, of course, to talk about mentoring, but also new practices of mentoring. And this is why in the EMCC, in the French EMCC Committee of Mentoring, we are conducting new projects, ongoing projects, with the 11 members of the committee. So these projects are really important because they are building what we can call the framework of mentoring in France today. We talked about behaviors, we talked about competencies earlier, but it's really important here also to talk about the framework, how to manage the relationship. This is why we are having today like 6 projects ongoing with different groups within the committee, the EMCC committee, the French one, where we are trying to create synergies with EMCC Global, and also we are trying to identify the framework of skills, of competencies. Of course, when we talk about competencies, again, we are talking about the behavior, we are also talking about the expertise, and we are also talking about the organizational or the managerial skills. So this is really challenging our members today. So if you would like maybe to participate or to share your thoughts, your insights with us, please do not hesitate. These are ongoing projects. We are trying to build and to share knowledge, and we are trying to challenge and mentor each other every time in order to promote mentoring in 26 regional delegates in France, but also at a global scope. This is what I wanted to add before finishing this panel. I would also love to take the time to thank you very much for challenging us and for sharing your insights with us. Pascal, if you want to add something.
Olivia a levé la main.
Yeah, Olivia, please.
Yeah, actually, just you talk about the coordination with the global. There was a mentoring working group, as it used to be called at the global level. Now those working groups are Center for Excellence. It was bigger before. It was led by Nigel, who now is the global treasurer. And I think only what's his name, Mike is then. You in touch with them, aren't you?
Yeah, yes.
So
actually,
so good.
I'm also the referent of, we're trying to build just bridges between the French and the global one. So I'm contributing to their meetings every time. I'm trying to share how we are evolving, and they're also sharing the evolution of their thoughts, their study also, very, very interesting study that has been conducted. So yeah, we are communicating with them on a regular basis.
That's the best way to have people from the country in the global work groups or Center for Excellence, as it's called now, be it for ethics, whatever is important to you. So great. I thought I had seen your name in other groups. You in some other groups as well, Manel, aren't you?
It's the international committee, the global committee of mentoring, but it's also about mentoring.
No, but there are several work groups for ethics, for different area. Okay.
No,
anyway,
in my case, it's only mentoring for now.
Enjoy it. It's worth it. Thank you all. Merci.
Merci beaucoup, Olivia. Pascal, if you would like to add something, or Catherine?
No, I think nothing more to, but I just want to thanks for your contributions also for questioning the topic. I think we are on the core, really the core questions to cover, and it's very important that all the people like us who are aware about that have to promote and to discuss with all the coach community also who still question the topic, and you need to work on this approach, and considering that mentoring it's really a good approach for helping the other growing for the future. So my point, I'm very involved in that for now for at least more or less 10 years, and still very motivated in contributing on that, and that work we are doing in the Commission in France, and globally what it could be done at the EU level and more international. It's very interesting. And I just want to point finally one idea, when people mostly said that in France it is different with the other place. I don't feel exactly agree with that, because by sharing with my partners in Poland, in Portugal, in Finland, there are so many common bases that we succeed, for example, to set up a training for in 5 countries on really with the same material and the same approach. So the cultural base, yes, it's existing, but for hard skills and the main part of the soft skills to act correctly are really really common, we can say that. So building, working all together to go forward and more structured, more how can I say, not structured, but more structured, yes, but more coordinated globally for promoting the mentorship. It's very good for this world's changing, and I think that all of us have to be really engaged for that in the different meeting, commission, and working program for.
Thank you, Pascal. If anyone else would like to,
if I may.
Yeah, Steph.
Thank you. Just picking up on what Olivia was saying, we have an active mentoring center for excellence in EMCC Global. We do want to expand that, and we do want to have much more representation from different countries, because we understand that mentoring is seen in a different way in country X versus country Y. And what we would like to do is be able to develop the definition that we've just launched, just publicized, and you will receive something either today or tomorrow or certainly within the next few days on that, just updating it. The website has now been updated. But we're really looking for more input from different countries and different thoughts on how mentoring might develop, and what role we might play in that as an organization, so that we actually help mentors come together with a forum to be able to discuss. Because having a conference once a year is very nice, but actually you need something ongoing in order to get that energy and enthusiasm. So we want that to be the place, and that's why we've put it under thought leadership in EMCC, because frankly, we're not saying we have the idea, we're not saying we have the only idea. We're saying we really want to be a place where people can come and share things, and then we all move forward with different thoughts, and that's fine. So I'd just like to offer you, if you're interested in it, please get in touch with Nick Levine, because we're really looking for people who are prepared to help. Or me if you can't find him, so that's fine. So thank you for letting me do a bit of promotion for EMCC in your session.
My name is Maria. I'm from Moscow. I'd like to hear you, dear colleagues, and some words about our experience. My organization, non-profit include new mentoring program as a mentors, we include psychologists, coaches, teachers, managers. Our way is regional mentoring school. Regional mentoring school. They work around a year. There are a lot of places, there are a lot of centers. You can go and you can study to be mentor. Study to be mentor, not only certification, but everyday work with our new mentors, with our mentees, and special tutors for mentoring programs help for this program. I'll be happy to continue our dialogue. I send my telephone to the chat and maybe WhatsApp or Telegram.
Is this a center where you have training?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We Center of Mentoring, we are in Moscow, but we work with the region around Russia.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Marina, for sharing. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting then. Well, we are running out of time. Thank you, everyone. It's never enough talking about mentoring. I think it's so challenging. So thank you for all your insights and thank you for being here.